Hi guys and good day, and for today's report, we're having a report all about the early Filipino revolts. And when I say early Filipino revolts, what things in your mind? What can you define about this topic? So, this topic is all about the land grumbling sa Asaman by the Filipino and by the Spaniard. So, this topic is very interesting and very broad topic. So, let's get it. And now, what are the causes of these early revolts? So, we think and I think that in the early Filipino revolts, there are many causes in it. And some revolts stem from land problems. So, that's one. And this was the largely cause. So, when we say land problem, so we have also a agricultural problem, and it can affect the places of Batangas, in the Bulacan, in the Cavite, and the Laguna. So this early Filipino revolt is very interesting, and we can think about this topic. The early revolts by the Filipino against the Spanish rule failed because of two reasons. The Filipinos, or we the Filipinos, were not united back then. And when we are not united, there is a possibility that we failed or something like that, and we cannot dili nato makuanan nga unsa gyud ang ato ang goal to fight against the Spanish. And that's why the problem that we the Filipinos that we are not united back then in the early Filipino revolt. So this is the problem. Back then in the early Filipino revolts, we are not united, okay? Instead of helping each other to oppose the Spaniards, the Tagalog helped the Spaniards, and the Filipinos fought each other. So nag-away gyud ug maayo because some Filipinos are helping the Spaniards, and some Filipinos kay nagstay sila to fight their rights, to fight their things against sa mga Spaniards. And I know and all we know that dili nato isisi ang usa-usa, because there is a reason why that there is a reason why nga ang Filipino nag-help sila sa Spaniards, and there is a reason why nga ang mga Filipino nag-stay sila to fight against the Spaniards. So, what are the causes of Philippine Revolution? So, what are the causes, man? So, before that, we should define first what is Philippine Revolution, man. So, Philippine Revolution, also called the Tagalog War by the Spanish, was a revolution in subsequent conflict between the people and insurgent of the Philippines and the Spanish authority. So, muna gitawa siya Philippines Revolution because it's also called the Tagalog War by the Spaniards, and nagfought ang Filipino and the Spaniards. So, there are the causes of the Philippine Revolution. So, we know that Philippine Revolution daghan og causes and effect, and now let's focus on the causes. So, the causes is the abuses of Spanish official and priests. So, as I read a historical ng mga Philippine Revolution, so, ang mga priests and mga official is abusive today sila sa mga Filipino, labi na gid sa mga babae. The next, persecution of Filipino leader who defend the rights of our fellow men and our fellow Filipino people. So, kaning persecution, grabe gid kay siya. And Filipino desires to regain their independence. We, as a Filipino, ato dyo i-regain atong independence. So, ato dyo gipaglaban atong rights and other things na ato ang kailangan ipaglaban. And next, discovery of the Katipunan and Bonifacio's call for revolution. So, muna siya mga some causes sa Philippine Revolution. So, the revolution against Spain was sparked in 1896 after Spanish authorities discovered the Katipunan. So, we know that Katipunan led by Andres Bonifacio, and we know that Katipunan is also called Revolt. So, freedom from the yoke of Spanish. So, Kibahanataana and a Filipino Revolutionary Society plotting against the colonizer. And it ended in 1902. So as you can see, taas gud kaayo, di ba? Nag-spark in 1896 and nag-end siya in 1902. So grabe jud kaayo. So natin mga Filipino revolutionary, so na sila Andres Bonifacio. So Andres Bonifacio is the nag-lead siya, and Jose Rizal also, Artemio Ricarte, Miguel Mavar, and Mercario Sagais, and daghan pa jud. Now I will explain to you the Spanish point of views and accounts of revolt. So during the Spanish colonial period in the Philippines, 1521 to 1898, there was several revolts against the Spanish. So daghan jud kay siya sa colonial government by the indigenous people, mga Moro, Lumad Indians, Chinese, or we call Sanglays or Sanglais, and insulares or insulares, kita mga Filipino full or near full Spanish descent. So muna siya. And some revolts stem from land problem. So akong giingon ganiha. So it focuses on sa land problem, and this was largely the cause of the insurrections that transpired in the agricultural provinces of Batangas. So ako na ni siyang nasulti ganiha in Batangas, Bulacan, Cavite, Laguna natives also rebelled over unjust taxation and forced labor. So, man na siya. So, akong nasutin na siya, ganiha. Most of these revolts failed because the majority of the local population sided up with the well-armed colonial government and to fight with the Spanish as foot soldiers to put down the revolts. The Philippine Revolution began in August 1896 when the Spanish authorities discovered the Katipunan. So ako na niingon that the Katipunan is also called as Brotherhood or the freedom from the Volk of Spain. Okay, and an anti-colonial secret organization, the Katipunan, led by Andres Bonifacio. So all we know that ang Katipunan gilid ni Andres Bonifacio to influence much of the Philippines. During a mass gathering in Caloocan, the leaders of the Katipunan organized themselves. So they organized nila into a revolutionary government named the newly established government Haring Bayang Katagulugan, and openly declared a nationwide armed revolution. Revolutionary against Spain was sparked in 1896 after Spanish authorities discovered the Katipunan, and all we know that Katipunan is also called Brotherhood or freedom from the Volk of Spain, a Filipino revolutionary society plotting against their colonizer, and it ended in 1902. So ato makita, grabe jud kataas no. It sparked in 1896 and it ended up in 1902. So mga revolutionary case na Andres Bonifacio, Rizal, Artemio Ricarte, Miguel Mavar, Mercario Sagais, and many more. So Bonifacio called for an attack of the capital city of Manila. This attack failed. So all we know that Bonifacio or Andres Bonifacio Y. D. Castro was a Filipino revolutionary leader and the president of the Tagalog Republic. He is often called the father of the Philippine Revolution. So muna aton hibawaan kang Andres Bonifacio. The surrounding provinces began to revolt. In particular, rebels in Cavite led by Mariano Alvarez, so mga revolutionary pa ni sila, and Baldomero Aguinaldo, who were leaders. So, leaders pa ni sila sa two different factions of the Katipunan, won early major victories. A power struggle among the revolutionaries led to SCHISM or scheme among Katipunan leadership, followed by Andres Bonifacio execution in 1897. So na-execution ni si Andres Bonifacio in 1897. Okay, and now with command having shifted to Emilio Aguinaldo, who lead the newly formed revolutionary government. So you
political initiative to Emilio Aguinaldo. That year, revolutionaries in Spanish shines the path of Biak na Bato. So we know that Biak na Bato is officially referred to that its constitution as the Republic of the Philippines, was the first republic declared in the Philippines by a revolutionary leader by Emilio Aguinaldo and his fellow revolutionary. So ang kani siya is the first constitution as the Republic of the Philippines, and nag-declare ani is the leader Emilio Aguinaldo. And okay, and the fact of the Act Nabato, which temporarily reduced hostilities, Filipino revolutionary officers exiled themselves to Hong Kong. However, the hostilities never completely ceased. Okay, so our topic is all about the early Filipino revolts. As you can see, na yung mga cause. And as you can see, naabot na sa mga revolutionary leaders, so Emilio Aguinaldo, Andres Bonifacio, and connected na siya tanan. And there are many causes, and naghatagog some causes of early Filipino revolt kung ano na. So, that's all. Thank you. Bye.